And the the people who use the race card issue, the Black Panthers and the Bloods and the Crips and other groups, have picked up on the effective use of the way they get you distracted and like taken aback, is by trying to catch you for the accusation. In other words, it's a very premeditated plan. And so he came to my window. He wasn't a regular customer, and these are the kind of situations that have been used on me, and I'm letting other people know so that they can possibly be more aware, because it's been used on me several times. But this is was the situation at Colorado National Bank in Inglewood. Came in, he wasn't a regular customer. My regular customers who I knew came in daily, business customers that came in every day with their end of day business. 3 o'clock rather.
I'm live recording right now with the background of. I was going to try to embed it, but I can't. Like as a little what I see in other YouTube videos playing like a smaller thing, but I don't know how to do that. So I've got I've got the video that I would like to be playing in the small corner over here, but I don't know how to do it. So I have it playing so that the sound at least plays through. So my the thing that I'm wondering about, or if you want to say research, what's getting my attention right now is the National Forestry Service, and the fact that I called and they have disclaimers about, what, and for some reason I'm seeing this person with a a, a fleece shirt with a Telluride, embroidered Telluride logo on it, as though this person has had an article of my clothing that I bought and purchased in Telluride when me and my first daughter had taken a trip to Telluride in like 1999, 98, the summer of. So it's interesting to bring to my own attention, and those who have ever experienced articles of clothing that aren't in your possession anymore, and the way clothing that you've worn is used by different people for the purpose of transference of your life experiences. Like I know my younger sister Leah used my clothing for a transference of her guilt to me, and vice versa, my innocence to. And so if this person who I'm seeing right now on this internet site, in a shirt that I wore in my earlier years, and if it's actually my shirt, and this person had had my clothing in her possession at any particular point in time, maybe now, maybe maybe formerly, and the internet site appearance was created a number of years ago. I don't know, but I know that that particular article of clothing I haven't had in my possession since approximately 2003 or 2002. Um, and my clothing is always something that is sought after, again, for the purpose of attaining information via my the essence. And this there's several sort of phenomenons that that come into play here, um in regard to wearing someone else's clothing, depending on how many times it's been washed, how often the person used it, how much of the essence is stored in that article of clothing. A person who, when you donate your clothes, that whoever gets your clothing is going to have some sense. And if it was purposefully done and somebody took your article of clothing, like my younger sister Leah used to do, um, and this person on this internet site who I'm seeing in my fleece Telluride shirt, isn't my younger sister Leah, and it isn't me. Um, but the reasoning, the purpose, the motivation, the transference of intellect, personal information is the same. And it's also, you can consider it a form of identity theft when a person has your clothing without your permission and is using it purposefully. It's a form of identity theft. And um so it's actually something to consider when you go to the donation places and stuff. And it's something that I realized while being a homeless person before 2021. And as I'm looking at the Forest Service, because it's not even called the National Forestry Service. So I wonder when this organization was first created, because they're not calling it the National Forestry Service. They're calling it the U.S. Forestry Service. And right now, excuse me, I'm looking. Now there's a National Forest Foundation. The National Forestry Service used to be a really highly respected sort of government presence. And what this Forest Service Department of Agriculture seems like a watered down version. And again, I really can't can't speak for the uh, air pollution and lichens. I can't really speak about what the National Park Service actually did and what their involvement in the ELF network might have been. I can only go by what I assumed in my very extremely naive years of existence as a United States citizen, which would have been from 1964, April 10th, through approximately 10 years ago. And the but this new, what seems like a new organization, I don't know what, like I said, when it first came about, but when I pull it up, this is what it says on the homepage. of the Forest Service.
And I'm not property of anyone. I'm not property of the KKK, which they're
Cultivating seeds.
The KKK is actually Asian based, and its origins are Asian based, and that's why they call their
seeds of leadership African Americans in the Forest Service. The first red flag here is, of course, that why does the Forest Service need to participate in African American politics, whereby African Americans are singled out as leaders of the National Forestry Service. Yet when I go and call the Forest Service, they have a disclaimer where they don't really want to talk to anybody. They're just whatever. And as I scroll down,
500 bald eagles that were senselessly slaughtered somewhere between the year or two prior to onset of Obama's presidential campaign, and as far as when that activity actually took place,
there's a lot of propaganda type photos, just like on any internet site that you see. And my question is, what are they actually doing? Because
the 2 or 3 years before the election, that's just when they push the button and send out the viral
from the chief's desk
activity that involves networking and computer networking and viruses and feet on the ground, neighborhood gossip, news gossip, international and national, and it's like, okay, there's what we pushed it now. All this stuff is going to go into public knowledge, and that takes place approximately 2 or 3 years prior to the actual election day. But all that activity goes on way before that that viral button is pushed.
And actually, this particular person on this particular internet site from the chief's desk resembles the woman from the employee at the Dundalk shelter that I was at, where the employees confiscated, while I was gone for the day, my photos from my children's childhoods, and they made copies of all of my photos and put them on the table. And I'm not the one that's making all of this so very personal. I wasn't an employee of a shelter making and taking advantage of a homeless woman who had photos, innocent photos of her children, like 300 photos, and took it. I didn't take things upon myself in a gross misuse of power of position, and made copies of a client's innocent photos within her personal belongings at a shelter and then presented the photocopies in a pile on a desk, daring the client, myself, to say anything.
Bears eat fish and berries.
And that's who this person on the from the chief's desk, cultivating seeds of leadership African Americans in the Forest Service, resembles.
A protection network, a frequency protection. On an altitudinal level that was necessary for like national security. And to realize that and to make those and connect those dots and then on lower levels of existence, because that's a level of intelligence, like government intelligence, national security intelligence. Now down on the street level, because of jealousy issues and whatnot, or people who don't really care about the importance or don't understand or they can't comprehend what I'm saying right now. And so the cocaine cartels or the methamphetamine cartels then send out the Bloods or the Crips or the Black Panthers with the race card. And the pattern is so clearly identified. I've identified the pattern so clearly that it's absurd from my standpoint for them to either even try to argue with me. And
I was just reviewing some of the other photos that are on the page.
That I can't.
Again, it just looks like yet another group of people who have moved into these positions who don't really have any concern for the Eagles other than the NFL Eagles or the because they would make more effort to connect with having a real-time conversation with someone such as myself who actually does.
It's still a back and forth game. It's still and it's not.
And they wouldn't be making the claims that they've made about having my children and the things that they claim to have done to my children.
Tries to get me in on the.
So it just goes on in a vicious cycle of in your face sort of advertising while and in a different branch of this particular National Forestry Service doesn't seem to be funded governmentally. I can't really find exact information about that. I just don't remember. I remember the National Park Service from my youth, and again, because of research that I've made,
That was when I was
the whole strategy of I love that this there's a strategy coming into my subliminal, and I just need to state here, you can't love me if you've been a part of mistreating my biological children. So save the line, because that's yet another strategy, and I can feel it like oozing into my subconscious as I'm looking at this other photo. Um so I'm just going to end it right what I was saying right there, because I'm so the oozing of